MRN Outloud, presented by Moneyline, and also brought to you by Hercules Tires. I'm Woody Kane, and ordinarily in this spot for this week's show, we would be previewing the racing to come at Texas Motor Speedway, but with the postponements, us not scheduled to come back until early May. Instead, we're going to talk with Christopher Bell. He was one of the participants in the iRacing Invitational over the weekend that Denny Hamlin won, and we wanted to ask him about how things went with that and what's going on in the future. Christopher, how'd the race go for you, and what was that experience like?
Didn't qualify very good, and then was just in the back there, so got caught up in a couple crashes that ended my day. But it was really cool to see, just the overall experience of it, and to see how many drivers were involved in it, right? We had enough cars for a non-qualifiers race, and had guys that had to qualify in, so I think it was a great deal, and hopefully we can keep it going.
What's your experience level with that kind of racing like? Because I know there was a wide range. Some guys do it all the time, some not so much.
Yeah, well, I grew up basically running iRacing every night. And then once I got my schedule picked up a little bit, I wasn't able to race as much here recently, but it's, I do have quite a bit of experience, especially through my childhood.
Now, what kind of a setup do you have? Because there's a wide range there as well. Like Ty Majeski's one of the best, and he's got a pretty simple setup, and some of them go up into the tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah,
so my deal, I actually started just on a regular computer desk with a regular computer and a computer chair, but unfortunately now I've got a WR1 simulator from Chad Wheeler.
Now, I understand that the setups were kind of limited, that you guys couldn't tweak all that much. How different is that for you to where a lot of that is taken out of your control?
Well, I think a lot of us like it because at that time you're really putting it in the driver's hands, right? It's about who can execute the best and who can get the car around the racetrack the best. So I personally like that.
Now, I read where you tweeted out that this type of racing actually makes you a little more nervous than getting behind the wheel of a real car. How come?
Man, I think it's because you have time to think about it. You don't have adrenaline. You're not in the heat of the battle. So, I definitely get nervous whenever I get on there and start racing those things. For some reason, I think that's fairly similar across the board. A lot of guys say that, you get more nervous on the computer than you do in real life.
Let's talk a little bit about the start of the season. We got a few races under our belt before the postponements came. What was that like for you? Obviously, Daytona is kind of an apples and oranges comparison, but the intermediate tracks and then Phoenix, what were things like for you and the Levine team?
Yeah, it was not good. We've had a pretty lackluster start to the year, so this break is, I'm not going to say much needed for us, but or at least on my end, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I'm prepared to go racing and hit it hard whenever we get back in May. So, we pretty much have nothing to talk about at this moment, and gotta get better. Gotta whatever that may be, if it's from my end or just got to make sure that we're a little bit better when we start. Actually, a lot better.
What's been especially challenging for you early on, and then what are some things that you've seen that are positives that you guys can build on?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just I don't know. I don't know if it's competition level or just caliber of cars, but there's the field is just a lot deeper in the Cup Series than anything that I've experienced in my NASCAR career, right? So, you have you're back there in 25th, and the racing in 25th is, the same as what the racing is when you're in the top five. It's just different cars. So everybody races hard, and, it's very competitive. So that's something that makes the Cup Series so unique and so cool.
Now, Levine has a technical alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing. How tight are you guys together? Is it like a little brother situation, or you're basically living in the same house and sharing the same bedroom?
We're definitely not living in the same house, but we do have information, and it's really good to be able to compare to our teammates and stuff like that. But we're a separate team, and we're focused on trying to get better.
Let's talk a little bit about everything that's going crazy now all over the world. What's it been like for you? Everybody is facing this a little bit differently, but none of us have ever seen anything like this before. It's all new for everybody.
It's boring, man. I want to go racing. I want to go racing, and hopefully we can get back to racing here pretty quick.
Are you keeping in touch with guys at the shop? Are you still visiting the shop? Every team seems to be doing things a little bit differently in terms of who's there when and how meetings and stuff are going.
Yeah, so LFR has been shut down, so I haven't been to the shop. Obviously, I've been keeping in touch with my crew chief and my engineers and stuff like that, and so we've been keeping in touch, and I think a lot of people have been working from home, but as far as shop activity, it's been closed for the last week.
You binge watching anything in particular right now?
Let me think about that. Man, I mean, we typically have friends on TV at home, so we've definitely had our fair share of friends on.
It's definitely kind of a situation where it's wallpaper for everybody right now. You got to have something on in the background, even if it's not your usual stuff. Christopher, the next couple of weeks as we look forward to coming back at Martinsville, that's the plan right now, coming back that the May 8th, 9th weekend. What are your thoughts about Martinsville under the lights for a return?
That's going to be a really, really cool race to be able to. This is the first event of having a full race under the lights at Martinsville, so I'm really excited about being a part of that. And Martinsville, it's a good old short track, bumping and banging, and it's going to be a fight. So it hasn't been one of my best racetracks in the or at least through the truck series, but I'm excited to go short track racing and do a little beat and banging.
All right. Well, Christopher, we appreciate you taking some time with us. Look forward to seeing you in some more iRacing in the future, and hopefully your wish will come true and we can get back to some real racing here before you know it. Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you.
There you go. Christopher Bell drives the number 95 Camry for Levine Family Racing with Rheem and Procore on the machine, and we'll take a quick time out here on MRN Out Loud.
Race fans, it's time to turbocharge your money with MoneyLion Instacash. Instacash is an easy, zero-interest cash advance that doesn't hurt your credit and with a limit up to $250. It's designed to help you cover unexpected expenses, like stocking up on groceries or filling up your tank. Just download MoneyLion and start using Instacash. Stop missing out and start joining in. Download the MoneyLion app today. MoneyLion, here we roar.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Race fans, it's time to turbocharge your money with MoneyLion Instacash. Instacash is an easy, zero-interest cash advance that doesn't hurt your credit and with a limit up to $250. It's designed to help you cover unexpected expenses, like stocking up on groceries or filling up your tank. Just download MoneyLion and start using Instacash. Stop missing out and start joining in. Download the MoneyLion app today. MoneyLion, here we roar.
It's time now for our Financial Crew Chief segment where we hear from a NASCAR crew chief about the coming race weekend. We don't actually have a race this weekend, but we do have a crew chief. It's presented by MoneyLion, the world's most powerful financial membership. MoneyLion, here we roar. Ben Bayshore joins us. He's the crew chief for Harrison Burton at Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series. They've got a win under their belt at Auto Club Speedway, 2 runner-up finishes, and another top 5 finish to go along with that. And they lead the standings while we're under this postponement situation. And Ben, I guess you guys, more than just about any other, were kind of disappointed to see the postponements coming since you were on such a roll.
Yeah, we were definitely pumped for the next couple of tracks, the Atlanta, the Homestead, Texas. Sort of 3 intermediates right there in a row, and we've had some success on the intermediates so far this year. So we were definitely looking forward to those, and having some good finishes, good momentum. You always kind of want to keep that going. You never really want to stop. You wish you could race every day when something like that happens, but we'll make the best of it and try to pick up where we left off whenever we get the green light to go back racing.
Obviously, the 20 car has been very good. You won 4 times with Kyle Busch in that car a year ago. But did you expect to come out of the gate this strong? I mean, after all, you're running a rookie. Not that he's completely inexperienced, but a 2-time champion versus a rookie is a little bit of a different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, we expected to come out strong. Obviously, I'm really high on Harrison's talent level. I think he's great. He's great to work with. We have a good group of guys on our team, so we were looking forward to some success to start the season. And obviously, when you do pick up a win early, that's always good, especially with a rookie. Kind of build his confidence, let him know that he is capable of getting the job done, and we're behind him 100%. For sure, there's some differences between working with a 19-year-old rookie and a guy like Kyle Busch. He's got close to 100 wins. But we try to bridge that gap of communication that Harrison and I might not have as much of as compared to me and Kyle. But working through meetings, simulation, talking about it, just spending extra time talking about different stuff and trying to pick his brain and give him what he's looking for in the race car every week.
How different is it to tease that out of a guy, what he's looking for with his level of experience versus a guy like Kyle who knows what he wants at just about every track and every car?
Yeah, with Kyle, he's got so much experience. He can kind of tell you or point you in a very good direction, and he has a high confidence that if you make those changes and give him what he's looking for, you're going to see tenths of a second start falling off the stopwatch. And with Harrison, we work more off of a number scale. Like he gives me 2 numbers loose, 4 numbers loose, and then it's up to me and the engineer and the car chief to try to figure out what changes we can do to sort of give him what he's looking for, and really, we kind of have our setups from last year that Kyle was successful with. So sometimes it's more, this is what you need to be looking for instead of him telling us what he needs to be looking for. So it's a little bit of a mix there, and then mash it all together and then try to go out there and race the hell out of them.
We're chatting with Ben Bayshore, the crew chief for Harrison Burton. They've already got a win under their belt, punched their tickets in all likelihood to the playoffs at the end of the season. But, Ben, now with everything under postponement, you can't really test. You can't really do manufacturer simulations. So what kinds of things can you guys do to stay sharp and stay ready for whenever we come back? Yeah,
so we try to get ahead whenever the schedule gets released, so we're prepared for, whatever the curveballs we get thrown at us, whether that scheduling changes or weekends getting moved. We just kind of have to be able to sort of roll with the punches and adapt the best way we can. We do have simulations that we can run at home on our computers and try to get the most out of our setups and look over all our notes and just take this extra time. It's sort of like a second off season to kind of, you got, we get 5 weeks in there, and now we kind of have a long break here. So kind of able to reevaluate what tracks did you struggle at, what do you need to work on, and sort of move forward there for trying to come up with a game plan for the rest of the year.
Speaking of tracks you've been strong at, it's hard to find one that you guys haven't been stout at early in the season. Tentatively, it looks like the Xfinity Series might come back at Charlotte Motor Speedway May 23rd. What do you think about racing there? Because that can be a different beast based on the temperatures outside.
Yeah, last year I think that race was 95 degrees out. Charlotte applied the PJ1 traction compound to the top, and it really turned into a race of attrition. There was guys sliding around, bouncing off the fence, popping tires. We had Jeffrey Earnhardt driving our car, and we slid into the fence one time, knocked the crush panel out over the top of the exhaust. So he got some fumes and some heat, and he was in rough shape, but he toughed it out, and I think we ended up third in that race. But yeah, it's turned into a really tough track, and really made it almost a whole different racetrack with the PJ1 up on the top. It's you can move around, pass guys on the slide job, a guy on the bottom once the PJ1 wears out late in the race, rim ride the fence. It's really turned into an exciting track.
Ben, just for you personally, what has this all been like? Because none of us have ever been through anything like this before. I know lots of people are doing a bunch of yard work, staying home with the kids, or you name it. What's it been like for you personally?
Yeah, all of the above there. Yard work, hanging out with kids. I got a 2 and a 3-year-old. We had a little Power Wheels race out here on the sidewalk in front of the house for a few hours the other night. Try to get some. it was sort of 50-50. The 2-year-old, I put him on the faster power wheels, so he had to work a little harder. But we had a pass in the grass for the win on one of the races.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Well, Ben, we really appreciate your time. Congratulations on the hot start to the season and continued success whenever we do get back. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Looking forward to getting back at it.
There you go. That's Ben Bayshore, the crew chief for Harrison Burton.
Race fans, it's time to turbocharge your money with MoneyLion Instacash. Instacash is an easy, zero-interest cash advance that doesn't hurt your credit and with a limit up to $250. It's designed to help you cover unexpected expenses, like stocking up on groceries or filling up your tank. Just download MoneyLion and start using Instacash. Stop missing out and start joining in. Download the MoneyLion app today. MoneyLion, here we roar.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Back on MRN Out Loud, and we're joined now by Jeff Striegel, one of our co-anchors on the Motor Racing Network. And Jeff, up in Michigan, I guess the first thing I got to ask you is, how are you getting through these challenging times? Everybody has a different strategy. What's yours?
Well, yeah, Woody, that's for sure. Adapting to the new normal, that's for sure. And we, in the state of Michigan, just went into lockdown mode officially as of yesterday. So it is very quiet now in the state. Everybody is sequestered to their own yard, which I am wandering through right now, just simply, Woody, because it's about 60 degrees outside, and that's one of the first times this year. It's hard to say. How do you adapt? You watch too much TV. Yeah. You try to continue your exercise routine, which I'm trying to do since the gyms have been shut down here for, I guess, about a month. I don't know that there is a routine or a new normal yet. You're just trying to adapt, and I would imagine that's what you're doing as well.
Yeah, it's just so weird because none of us have ever been through anything like this before. Even 9/11 wasn't like this.
Right, exactly. And I think that, when you look at situations that we've had in the past, I think you could always wake up the next day and say, today's going to be better than yesterday. We're in the healing process. We're going through this together, and we're now 7 days removed from whatever that might have been. Not using any one thing as an example. But that's, like you said, this is so much different. We don't know exactly when we're going to get back to what was normal. We don't know when we're going to return to day-to-day living and people go back to work and we go back to racing. We stop seeing the number of people getting sick going up. We stop seeing the number of deaths going up. How soon that happens, I think, is what has everybody kind of on edge. I wish I knew, Woody, what tomorrow is going to bring, but I got to be honest with you, at this particular point, I don't. And so I'm here, I'm embracing what's going on and trying to make the best of it.
Well, then let's talk about some happier times. 4 races under our belt, including the Daytona 500. We've seen a really good start from Joey Logano, for example. Denny Hamlin wins the 500, kind of an apples and oranges type thing. And then Alex Bowman goes to victory lane as well. What's jumped out at you about the racing that we have been able to get in so far this year?
Well, what's jumped out, Woody, has been that, to your point, it's been very good. I like every single thing that I have seen so far. I like the Daytona 500, albeit all the things that took place there. We all understand that. But at the same time, that was an electric week down there in Daytona, and that got things started. And from there, we went on to Vegas, and we saw a great 1.5-mile race. We went on to California, saw another good 2-mile racetrack race, and then, Phoenix couldn't have been any better, in my opinion.
To use the new short track package.
And it didn't disappoint, did it? I'll tell you, the thing that makes me so happy is the fact, and everybody I think was on edge a year ago, disagree if you think I'm wrong with this, that, man, we saw these short tracks and how disappointing it was at Bristol and at Martinsville and Phoenix, and everybody was like, this is going to just be the end of it. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. NASCAR sees this like everyone else. They're not interested in putting a bad product on the track. They just need the opportunity to make the change. They got the opportunity, they made the change, and the result was Phoenix, and I can't wait to get to the next short track.
Well, that's interesting because if the schedule holds, and as we've said, everything is changing under our feet as soon as we think we know something, Martinsville under the lights is where we come back. So that would be 2 straight short track races, and boy, that's going to be, if that holds, that's going to be a special event.
That is the race that I have circled. We all have a race or 2 or 3 or 5 on the schedule that we'll circle and go, I can't wait to get there. And Martinsville under the lights is one of those circled races on my calendar for a number of reasons. Under the lights for the first time in Martinsville, how cool is that going to be? Friday night, we've got the modifieds running. I'm going to be able to be a fan, I hope. We might be, who knows? We might be broadcasting it. I don't know. But, the bottom line is I can't wait to get to Martinsville as a race fan. Yeah, I get the luxury of doing what you and I get to do every time we go to a racetrack, and that's to call the event. But I want to see Martinsville, a Cup Series race under the lights. And before that, I want to watch the modifieds go wheel to wheel under the lights on a Friday. So, yeah, if we can just keep moving through this so that we can get to Martinsville on time, and even if we can't, Woody, we're going to get there sooner or later, and we're going to turn the lights on, and we're going to crank up the engines, and we're going to go back to work.
Speaking of moving through it, I don't know what kind of an online gamer you are, but the iRacing thing over the weekend, Denny Hamlin wins the invitational race, if you will, that they ran a simulated race at Homestead, Miami. And I just saw a number, 900,000 people watched that on TV. What did you make of all that?
Well, I was one of them. I was one of those 900,000. And it was crazy because I am literally setting the record on my TV because we wanted to get out and run some errands. And I'm like, I can't miss. I want to see it all. I want to see everything from beginning to end. Yep. We ended up getting home on time. And, right from the invocation and the pre-race ceremonies, right up to the drop of the virtual green flag, to watching Junior and Denny go wheel to wheel there at the very end, along with Garrett Smithley and Timmy Hill. How cool was that? Yeah. And they put on a good show. I was entertained. I will watch it again. I'm not ready yet, Woody, to say that is going to replace my need for actually smelling racing fuel and hearing engines rumbling in the background.
Yeah, me neither.
But for right now, it certainly filled the void. And I'll tell you something else. Tip of the cap to everybody who participated, right from our friends over at Fox to everybody who drove and everybody who was behind the scenes. And I'm sure there's a lot more people behind the scenes than what we're aware of. But they did that so that we could be entertained, and I appreciate and respect what they did.
Yeah, I think everybody is just hungry for something live and fresh because it's not just the NASCAR world. All sports are shut down. No NCAA tournament. NBA season is done. I think everybody was hungry for anything that was live and fresh, and boy, they got it.
I saw a stat. I don't even remember where I saw it. Maybe you did as well, Woody. Somebody posted the amount of advertising dollars that have been lost in professional sports. Did you see that? It came out. Something came out, and I saw it yesterday.
It's a ridiculous number, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
$193 million just off of the NCAA tournament. I believe the number was something in the neighborhood of 31 million. Don't quote me, but 31 million in NASCAR already revenue that has been lost. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. To your point, we're all looking forward to the next best thing or the next big thing or the next new thing, and hopefully it's not too far off. And I got to believe I'm going to think positive here that we're going to get this thing squared away and we're going to get a chance to get back and do what we love to do.
I think you're right, and it's just around the corner, and hopefully nothing else will happen unexpectedly, although that seems to be the rule of the day right now to derail us from that point. But, boy, when we get back, if we're talking midweek races, some doubleheaders, it's going to be busy, busy, busy. We're going to have our tongues hanging out, but I think everybody will appreciate it.
Well, I know. I think they will. I know I do. I think every loyal NASCAR fan that has followed this sport, whether it be for a year or whether it's been for 50 years, is going to embrace what NASCAR is going to do. I will tell you this. I'm glad I'm not in their shoes. Mm-hmm. I cannot imagine what they're having to go through, the monumental task of trying to figure out how to put together a schedule in the time frame that they're going to be given, whatever that time frame is, in order to try to make Martinsville and make Texas and go back and get Atlanta and anything else, all 36. And I'll tell you something, I'm sure that there has to be, there's, in my opinion, Woody, there has to be 40 schedules sitting on their desk, meaning that every week that goes by, they throw a schedule away. So that if all of a sudden we could go back to racing right now, we can implement this schedule right here. Yeah. If we have to wait another week, that schedule gets thrown away and there's a new schedule that is sitting there. It's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be a major undertaking when you think of these tracks that want to try to sell tickets and want to interact with their fans, and yet they just don't know when they're going to go to work. And speaking of that, Woody, I want to turn the tables around and let you allow me to be the guy that gets to do the interview. I know you have been busy, and give everybody an idea, because I don't see it like you do. Give everybody an idea as to what's going on with the Motor Racing Network. What have you been up to? I know that, you guys continue to try to give the NASCAR fans something new and fresh every week.
Well, we're cranking as hard as we can go, but like many businesses, most businesses, we are working from home for the most part. We can go by the office and pick things up or things like that, like grab some commercials for our shows and things like that, but we're all working from home and staying in touch and burning up the bandwidth to make sure that we can do things like this and NASCAR Today every weekday on more than 300 stations around the country. NASCAR Live is still cranking out every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on all of our affiliates across the country. And we're even doing the races like this past weekend, the 2004 Homestead race, and that had over 120 affiliates picking up that race, the 2004 Homestead race, and our friends over at the Performance Racing Network will pick it up with Texas this coming weekend, and we'll try and stay on what was the regular schedule and just pick a really cool race from whatever track we would have been going to give fans something to enjoy. And, I know you'll agree with me on this, there's not much better than getting to listen to some Barney Hall right about this time.
I read your tweet, what was it, a week ago or so? You had put it out there that at this particular point, what's better right now than listening to some Barney Hall? And I couldn't have agreed with you more then, and I still agree with you today. There's something about listening to that man's voice, bringing all of us a race, and I don't care what race it is. It's just something that will kind of just set you back and put you at ease for a couple of minutes and maybe take away everything that's going on around us. And with that, I just want to say to you and to everybody else that's back at the shop, and like you said, even our friends at the Performance Racing Network, Doug Rice and his team, everybody is doing everything they can, and I applaud you for your efforts. I look at what the Bagman and Pete and Dave Moody are doing with their shows, just trying to give a listener, like you said, with NASCAR Live, just give the listener, a fan, something to look forward to. And so I applaud you. I wish I could do more from where I'm at. I can't. But I'll always be a part of a show like what you're trying to do right now, Woody. So, again, I applaud you for your efforts.
Well, we appreciate it, Jeff, and enjoying the time here on MRN Out Loud, and we look forward to continuing next week. MRN Out Loud has been presented by Moneyline. It's also brought to you by Hercules Tires. I'm Woody Kane for Jeff Striegel, and we'll see all of you right back here next week.